That's it, right?
That's good. Yeah, all right, time to go home, guys. Pull it.
Aye.
The sound was really good there. Hey guys, welcome back to the TFG channel. So today we have our good man Martin Liu back in. Martin, how are you doing?
Doing very well. Thank you for having me back. Super excited about our fitting today.
So Martin obviously is one of our co-founders here at TFG, unbelievable golfer. He's going to be the test subject today for what we have in hand, and which we have is the new SM11s and the wedges. So Titleist and Vokey, every 2 years they release a new wedge in their product cycle. Really excited about having these tools here at TFG. We're going to take some lob wedge grinds, and so they're kind of known for having some different code names for their grinds. They're D, they're M, they're K. We're going to decode them for Martin, maybe help him work through the different grinds. We're also going to get him to hit some shots and see which lob wedge grind is going to work best for him. But also talk about how maybe the different shapes, the different soles are going to be best matched up for all the different amount of golfers we're going to see here in Hong Kong, but also worldwide. So really excited to do this test. Martin, how's your short game been looking lately?
I have been playing a little bit more just
Good.
because winter is Hong Kong, best season to play golf.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so it's been okay. It's been okay. I would say I've had my wedges for about a year and a half now. Yeah. And given the amount of rounds I play in a year, which is not much, so they still look okay. But I mean, I'm super excited about the new products that we're trying out today. Yeah. Titleist always comes up with the best wedges, in my opinion. So I'm very excited to try them out today.
Number one wedge on tour for pretty much as long as I've been alive. Martin is kind of the rare breed where he's a fantastic golfer who actually, not to be brutal, but doesn't know much about the equipment. So he's actually the perfect test for this. We are actually going to go in blind for most of these grinds and just see which one's going to come out on top. So yeah, let's get right to it. All right, Martin, so wedge number one, what we're going to do is we're going to test each of these lobbers at 50 yards. So we're going to try to land them as close to that number as we can. Let's see how much spin we can generate. Let's talk about the flight. We're also going to look at the contact. We've put trackers fiducials on all these clubs. We're really going to see impact height and talk about how the different shapes and different grinds and different bounces are all going to influence that, all right? So first impressions when you put this one down, what are your thoughts?
Looks quite nice.
It's good.
For some reason, I don't know why, I feel like it looks flatter, more lofted than my 58.
Okay.
Yeah.
So flatter, actually, like the toe is a little bit more down, or kind of more with more.
Actually, yeah, a bit flatter. I feel like it's a bit flatter,
okay, and
a bit more lofted.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
As close as we can. Great shot to start.
Okay. 3 too many.
It's funny, you're an eagle-eyed observer because I have with these wedge fitting heads, I have flattened the wedge for you. So seeing you play golf and knowing how you want to play golf, you talking about the left miss with your wedges, flattening the wedge is typically where you'd want to go. What people don't realize are most wedges should be flatter. Most wedges are almost reverse engineered to have more performance maintained out of a toe strike rather than a heel strike. So you'd always rather have your wedges minimum 1 degree flat relative to your iron. So that's what we're starting for. We're actually starting at 2 degrees flat.
Okay.
Really good shot there.
I feel like I'm almost, after hearing what you said, I feel like I'm almost like adjusting my swing to the
Typical
line.
Martin. Never wants to blame the clubs. Nice one there. Okay, so let's use that one as an example. And so for anyone at home, for really good technique and a wedge grind that matches up, those are probably numbers we'd expect. Around 8,000 spin, and if you can keep the launch sub 30 degrees for a 50-yard shot with a lob wedge in your hand, it means you're in good contact. It means you're in a pretty good wedge grind. So really good one to start there, Martin. So wedge number one, very familiar grind for you, Martin. It's your grind that you currently play. It's a 5808M. So you talked about shaping, you talked about looks. What I really like to see is the strike doesn't kind of veer above kind of grooves 3 or 4. Bob used to always say, grooves 2 through 5 is kind of the sweet spot for your wedges. If you're making contact kind of in that portion of the wedge face, it means you have good technique, but it also means the grind is matched up for how you play your short game. So really good things across the board. I love to see down angle attack. You're a little bit across with the face open. And again, technique that matches up with typically the best wedge players in the world. Really good things right there.
Wow.
If we're talking about launch, we're right at that magic number of 30, and we're keeping the spin as close as we can to 8,000. Good thing across the board as well are good deviations for launch and spin. So when you have good deviations for numbers such as the speed and the spin and the launch that it comes out at, you're typically going to have a very consistent number every single time. And that's what we're seeing right away. So good work. Let's go to wedge number 2, okay? All right, Martin, wedge number 2. So as you put it down and manipulate the face a little bit, what are your first impressions on the looks?
This, first of all, feels a bit more square.
A little bit square?
Yeah. Okay. It feels like, sometimes wedges, there are ones that if they look and feel good around the green.
Yep.
Some are better for longer pitch shots or even full shots.
No doubt.
This definitely feels like something that it's probably more suitable for like a full length, full distance shot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, love that observation, love that feedback.
Okay. I realized something. I don't know. I can tell you after the one more shot.
Tell me whatever you want.
Okay. Immediate feedback.
Yep.
Well, it's straight, but I feel like this one, it encourages me to turn over a little bit more.
Yeah. Okay.
Right away.
Yeah.
When I get to the ball, it's telling my hands to turn over.
Got it.
But two shots I've hit, they're like right on the line.
And for guys, obviously, Martin's going to hit every single one of these shots straight. He's just going to. He's got great technique. What we're really going to be talking about are things like the shape of the wedge. This is not going to be the sort of wedge Martin's going to play. So to let you in on the story, this is the 12K grind. So the K grind is a super wide sole, and the 12 degrees means it's got a lot of forward bounce on it. What we see with Martin right now, we actually see the launch come up about 2 to 3 degrees on the wedge. And that's typically correlated. If we actually look on the screen and we look at over there, Martin, if we look at that bottom right sort of square, that V impact, do you notice how it says 9 millimeters high? Mm-hmm. That just tells me the strike is kind of moving up the face on him, and that typically means the bounce is not going to be how you need it. In this case, it's actually the sole width is too wide. For someone who has very good low point control and typically gets it after the golf ball, a wide sole, too much bounce actually is not the right matchup for you, just plain and simple. Something that has a bit of a sharper leading edge, a little bit narrower or a little bit less bounce, typically is going to be the best matchup for you. Again, when we talk about wedges, it's these small things on the margins that you really have to pay attention to. Yeah. We can't just look at straight. We can't just look at the distance. We have to talk about the spin rate. We have to talk about the vertical impact height. Not going to be the wedge for you. You're going to hit it straight, but yeah, let's hit a few more because we know you're going to hit it well, but this certainly isn't going to be your wedge.
Don't jinx it, man.
Nice.
It's funny. I mean, now that you mentioned it, I realized, okay, why does it feel like it encourages me to turn my hands over a bit more? Because, yeah, it's hitting higher in the face.
Correct.
So it's allowing me to go this way.
Exactly. Yeah. And for players don't realize how intuitive they are. Every sort of look that we see different or the feel, if it's different, golfers are going to react to that. And Martin's a prime example of that right now. He sees something in the wedge that he doesn't like. He reacts, in this case, negatively to it. So let's get one more, but then let's go on to wedge number 3, okay? Nice. Good one to finish. All right, let's take a look. All right, so let's look at wedge number 2. This is the 12K grind. So they actually redesigned this wedge, Martin. For the longest time, their K grind, they only had one in the lineup. It was a very high bounce wedge, 14 degrees. For SM11, they've actually lowered that forward edge bounce, so it's only 12 degrees of bounce. But it's that same DNA of a very wide sole. As you can see, your launch goes up 1 degree and you lose about 300 RPMs of spin. And the deviations, while they're still very tight, got up fractionally across the board. When we're talking about wedge play, it's these small differences along the margins that really matter a lot. In this case, we don't want the wedge to launch higher and we don't want it to spin lower. We want this lever to look exactly like how it was the first one. Keeping that launch close to 30 and getting that spin basically as high as we can. So wedge number 2, good result, but not going to be for Martin. All right, Martin, so wedge number 3, let's hit the same sort of shot. You might get bored with this in 20 minutes, but let's give it a go. Okay. Again, I'm always going to ask you, first impressions as you put it down, do you notice anything different in the leading edge, the sole design?
It feels like the sole is sitting up a little bit higher.
A little bit higher?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice one there.
This one felt like I released it better.
I would say you certainly are. It has that slightly softer flight to it. Another good one there. Making really good strikes across the board. Again, good things we like to see, like on that one there. Spin close to 8,000, and we keep the launch sub 30 degrees. Again, those are what we want. Those are lob wedge numbers we want out of 50 yards. And to see that it's correlated with a vertical impact that is not higher on the face than that fourth or fifth groove.
And the fee impact number is 0.
That's perfect.
What
That's
does that
perfect.
even mean?
It basically means where I have that second and middle fiducial, you struck it right there. And I have it on the fourth groove for you. So it basically means you're striking it pretty much right on groove 3.5, groove 4 right now.
Okay.
Okay, that'll be all for that. That was a really good one there. What are your thoughts on those 4 or 5 shots, just personally? Feel like you could kind of release it better, maybe play to your technique a little bit more easily?
Yeah, I feel it feels comfortable. I think the most important thing is like when the ball. I feel like when the club is at impact, it feels like it's sticking to the ground.
Okay.
It's tight. It's getting through.
Yep.
Which feels good.
Good.
It allows me to have I could have that turf interaction control.
Good.
Which I like.
Nice.
The only thing I don't like is it's gone left.
The left we'll talk about again. All right, folks at home, is this really that far left? Let's give Martin the burner here. So it's funny. This is, I don't know, off camera. Martin and I were talking about which wedge I was
it's
excited.
M grind.
This is actually the 06K grind here, Martin. So this is the one where
it's not.
This is the one at the very beginning where I said, I really want you to try this. So something that has a wide sole, but also has very low bounce. So I know at the beginning you said you felt like it almost stood a little bit kind of taller off the ground, but still the leading edge didn't stick up too much.
Yeah.
That's exactly what the 06K grind is.
Yeah.
So for someone like Martin, who for a 50-yard shot has a pretty downward angle of attack and has a path moving a little bit left, the strip of grass and the turf interaction he's going to make with the ground is going to be longer than other people. Now, he has good low point control to support that, but a wedge like this on paper is a perfect matchup for someone like him. It keeps the strike a little bit lower than that 12K grind. It allows him to actually have the launch a touch lower with also a touch more spin. And again, we're talking 0.3 degrees of launch and another 100 RPM of spin, but these are the differences that are going to matter as you play outdoors and you get under pressure and you need to manipulate your shots a little bit better. Deviations across the board also got way better. Again, one I was really excited for you to try, 5806K. Really good. All right, Martin, wedge number 4. So let's again, don't look at the bottom. Let's hit the same 50-yard shot.
When I put it behind the ball, it's kind of turning a little bit. It's turning open.
Kind of wants to sit.
Yes.
Yep.
Which I like in a wedge.
Yep.
Because I like to work it around the green.
Yeah.
And it feels like I have more flexibility to play different type of shots when it's in my hands like that.
Yeah. Really good one there. Hold it.
Well, that's it, right?
That's good. Yeah. All right. Time to go home, guys. Again, good things there. The spin is up. We're still keeping the strike low. Again, launch and spin, we're going to talk about kind of what gives us the best deviations in the end. The result is really good, but also the sound. I always say, let's use our ears to talk about wedges. The sound was really good there. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Too hard. No, that was a bad shot.
Yeah, and before I get you to start immediately blaming yourself, we can say that, okay, this wedge probably still has some properties that are not a perfect matchup for you. The one before, we had the one that launched a little bit high and the spin came down. This one, even though the launch was pretty good, with the vertical impact kind of going up, we can kind of hear it on camera as well. We're not making that really crisp golf ball first, then ground contact. We're kind of bottoming out a little bit earlier. Can you guess, is this a high bounce wedge or a low bounce wedge? Let's start with that.
High.
It's actually the opposite, guys. So this run right here, Martin, 5804 T grind. So we're in the very low bounce end of the wedge spectrum right now. That's kind of, so if we show you the bottom of this wedge here, you can see how they really kind of get it on the grinding wheel and they kind of relieve all the back of the wedge here. It means the wedge can sit pretty flat.
Yeah.
It's going to sit pretty nicely to your eye, but we're not seeing the numbers not necessarily that we need to see from you. So wedge in terms of, a good wedge in terms of giving you the looks and the manipulation that you really like to see, but we also got to make sure we're keeping the strike pretty good. We don't want to see ever is seeing your vertical impact strike going 8 millimeters high in the face. That's pretty much an immediate no-no to tell us just not the right matchup. Anytime we see that strike move above kind of that 4th, 5th groove right there, we can say we're in zones where we don't need to be living. It causes us to deliver more dynamic loft. We see the efficiency come down in terms of producing kind of good spin rates. And again, launch goes up, even though spin goes up, launch goes up, and strike point goes up. That's going to be a no-no for you, Martin. Okay, let's go to wedge number 5 here, Martin. So same sort of deal. Give me your feedback.
This one again, more square. It's definitely more. It's okay. The whole club looks more square to me.
More square.
Yeah,
Okay.
like a box.
Nice.
Compared to, I don't know, for some reason compared to the one I had earlier.
Okay.
Oh,
Nice one there.
feels like quite quick through the ball.
Good.
Whoa, very heel.
So those are good adjectives to have, I'd say.
It feels fast.
Fast, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's hit one more, but I would say the fast adjective for people at home maybe doesn't make too much sense, but we can kind of explain maybe why Martin feels that pretty easily right now.
Yeah.
Another good one. So
It feels actually very smooth. I mean, not smooth, like very effortless. And the club just travels through.
So this one right here, Martin has the 10S grind. The S grind is named after Steve Stricker, who had a very basic kind of hand neutral sort of chipping position. It's the thinnest sole in the Vokey lineup, and it has been for many, many generations. Typically a thin sole means, especially for good chippers of the golf ball, it gets through the ground pretty easily because they have good low point control. So that's probably why you feel like it gets through the ground pretty fast and the ball kind of pops off the face pretty good. I would say he's chipping the ball pretty well. Again, we'll always have to look at things like spin rate, launch angle, and vertical impact height for Martin. But I would say first impressions are a pretty good wedge. Would you agree? The sound is really good. You're making really good, crisp contact on it.
For sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's hit a few more wedges, okay? Nice one there.
But I must say though, yes, compared to the previous wedges where I felt like they've gone left, because those wedges, I felt like right off the face they were going left.
Got it. Okay.
This one, yes, it started off a little left, but I at least felt like the club was not turning around, but like the edge, the heel side can continue to travel through, so it allows the ball to come back towards target.
Got it. I mean, we're pretty close to the magic numbers here. We're launching it right at 30. I know it's 0.3 higher. I'll be an easy grader for you this time. 30 degrees is pretty good, but we're spinning the golf ball.
What's the most optimal?
I would say as a general rule of thumb, if you can take the loft of the club and divide it by 2, you're in a good window. And I would say there are grades to this.
Yeah.
PGA Tour players will take the loft of the club and divide it by 2 and subtract 2, and that's what the launch angle they're going to be. So they would take a 58 and launch it at 27.
Okay.
Average, basically scratch players, club level players, high level AMs will take the loft and divide it by 2.
Yeah.
And kind of mid handicaps, higher handicaps, they'll typically launch it. They can't get it to that divided by 2 number. So if they have a 58 degree, they're typically launching it consistently over 30, 31 degrees. So we kind of live in that second area, and that makes sense for obviously a scratch golfer like yourself, where you can keep the launch kind of right at kind of half the loft number there, which is really, really good. But we keep the spin nice and high, which is really good to see. Moment of truth. What we love to see is the impact strike actually came lower on the face on this one for you, Martin. 58 10S. And makes a lot of sense. It's the thinnest sole, which means you can really sort of lean into what you're good at, which is hitting down on the golf ball and really using the low point control to control the flight of your wedge. So the 10S has done really, really good. Now it's a little bit different than kind of what you used to play in the past, the 08M grind, which has kind of what you call some toe and some heel relief on it. It allows you to kind of play it in a few more versatile positions. Again, Steve Stricker wasn't a wedge player who wanted to do that. He just wanted to kind of do the same technique every time, which is why it's a bit more of a rudimentary sort of sole, but it's got a very thin sole at it.
Yeah.
2 very good matchups there. I would say this one has definitely reached sort of the top there. And again, as you can see, guys, 5 different grinds. People always say, did the grinds make that much of a difference? 5 grinds, not a single one of them you struck in the exact same part of the face, which is kind of the most kind of glaring sort of indicator that, yes, we have some differences in the soles, we have some differences in the shapes. You're going to get different results for all these different wedges.
Sorry, this one is which green?
This one right here, this
So
bottom here.
lowest.
Lowest,
So this one is too low then.
Not too low. Absolutely. Martin made a good point there, guys. Okay, guys, so I was just showing Martin our impact height there, and we actually found that the 10S grind had the lowest strike on the face, somewhere between grooves 1 and 2. And Martin asked, well, that's actually too low then, surely, right? We've been striking at grooves 3 through 5. I would say, Martin, there's no such thing as striking it too low on the face. Now, if you get below the grooves and you're thinning it, it's a different story. But if you can actually maintain a strike of grooves 1 through 3, that's even better than 2 through 5. That's even better than 3 through 6. Wedges are almost reverse engineered, especially in Vokey wedges, which bring the CG really up in the face. The lower you strike it, the easier it is to maintain low launch with high spin, just because you're getting a strike that is reactive to a very high CG on the face. So there is no such thing as striking the wedge too low on the face. Low is even better.
Okay.
Dispels that myth. Yeah.
You know what's funny for me for this wedge is that, you know how I said it felt faster?
Yeah.
And you said for Steve Stricker, you would like a wedge that is more consistent, just more simple, one type of shot.
Yep.
This feels like an iron for me.
Okay.
When I hit it, it feels like, okay, it goes through the ball like an iron.
Gotcha.
Like with an iron, you're not going to do too much, right?
Correct.
Too many crazy things.
Correct.
But when I usually play a wedge, I like to do all kinds of things.
Yeah. And again, this is now where we'll talk about, the numbers are pretty good with Martin, but we also have to consider what sort of wedge player he is, and knowing that he likes to be versatile, knowing that you like to kind of see the shots, you like to be reactive and know that you can manipulate the club. 10S grind still can allow you to do that, certainly less so than maybe some other wedges that Vokey has in their lineup. So let's do the last one before we kind of recap everything, okay? All right, Martin, last wedge number 6. Let's go through the paces one last time for you here, pal.
Okay, this is definitely setting higher.
Higher, yep.
It's funny, it's like round
Okay.
and square.
Round and square.
Sitting
and sits
higher.
up a little bit higher, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Feels good.
Looks good.
Yeah, feels just like how it looks like. It feels square through the ball. It also travels through the ball quite fast, like the S grind.
Yeah.
But not as fast.
Okay.
More like a wedge.
Gotcha.
Less like an iron.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'd say that's actually that's ironically probably good feedback for what the S grind is like. You know, it's a very thin sole that doesn't have a lot of toe and trail relief. You know, irons, they don't really have toe relief. They don't have trail relief. It's a very thin, usually rudimentary sole. And that's probably why it feels most like an iron for you. So I've solemnly heard that sort of feedback, but it actually kind of checks the boxes in this case here. Nice one there. Let's get one last one with this one here. Nice. Sound was really good on those last few strikes there. Actually getting the spin up on the up, which is really, really good. Let's take a look at the average. So we've hit 6 wedges here, and we are in a pretty close dogfight for all of these. All right, Martin, so 6 good wedges all around. Let's quickly talk about the 2 that actually didn't work out for you quite as well. So I know the overall result looked pretty good for both of them. We had really good dispersion. We had a pretty tight pad in terms of hitting the green from 50 yards every single time. And even though numbers like spin and launch look pretty good, we have to talk about what is your impact strike location. We never want to see the ball striking that high in the face, especially when we saw 2 or 3 grinds that actually kept it a full groove, almost 2 grooves lower than that. That consistent strike in terms of matching it up with your technique, that's going to be the best one that relates to how you're going to chip outdoors in many different conditions. So 04T, which is on the low end, and we have 12K on the high end, we just don't need to go to those 2 extremes in terms of wedge design for you. Not right now, at least. Maybe in the future when you're playing less golf. But right now, 04T, 12K, just not the right matchup for you. Let's talk about the other 4 overall. So 08M, 06K, 10S, 12D. So no surprise that the 4 middle grinds, I'll call them, the 4 that probably are meant to catch the widest range of players, they've all fit you to a certain degree. All of them kept the strike significantly lower on the face. All of them produced really, really good spin rates. All of them kept the launch to within half a degree of that 30-degree launch angle window. That's kind of that magic number for chipping the golf ball. And all of them produced kind of that 50-yard shot that you wanted to see. Really, really good things. All right, Martin, so thank you for hitting all those shots. We tried all the 6 different grinds that are going to be in line for Vokey to start the 2026 season. What's your thoughts? Is there any wedge that kind of stood out to you right at the beginning? Obviously, we went through kind of all 6 of them. We talked a little bit about the product and the shape of each of them. Yeah, just what's your thoughts? What's your feedback?
Well, thank you, first of all. It was really fun. It was my first time trying all the different types of wedges.
Yes.
All the different products and grinds all at once.
Yeah.
And I think the results were, I think for me, I also never knew that much information about the specs and characteristics of the different grinds. So for me to have this kind of experience, I think it was extremely rewarding.
Yeah.
It's also funny, like some wedges felt like I said, like it felt like hitting an iron. Some felt like, hitting wedges, or kind of versatility that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
And the results kind of speak for itself as well. So yeah, I'm actually keen to hear your perspective on which one I should really go for.
In terms of the numbers, we have that kind of right on the screen behind us. So we'll definitely look at that in a second. But I think Martin's feedback is really, really key. Every single wedge he did hit to 50 yards on the green every single time. There isn't a single ball that isn't on the green from 50 yards. But wedge play goes 3 levels deeper than that. We have to talk about, how does the wedge influence the strike? How does that strike influence the spin? How does that influence the launch? And how does that influence the looks? And how does that influence your confidence? It's kind of this tiered effect, and it's this sort of domino effect of one thing's going to lead to another. And we can't just look at the ultimate result. We have to look at where's the strike. We have to talk about how does that match up with your technique. We have to talk about the looks as well. Wedges are probably the most creative part of your game. If you don't have that inner capability to be creative like you like to be, it's still not going to be the wedge for you, right? We talked about all that today. And again, we found 2 winners for them. And those 2 winners for you, Martin, they're going to be these 2 wedges. So the 10S grind, the Steve Stricker grind, and the 06K grind, which is actually the Tom Kite grind. That was originally the high bounce version. Now they've come out in line with the low bounce version. No surprise, both of these wedges have actually similar sort of sole designs in terms of they don't have a lot of toe, heel, or trail relief. They're kind of very straight leaning edges, but they both do have lower to medium bounce. They allow you to open up the face. They allow you to kind of get the golf club sliding underneath the golf ball very well. Really plays into Martin's strengths in terms of keeping his low point control really good, but also playing in a variety of conditions. Here in Hong Kong, the grass can, we kind of talked about this earlier off camera. In the wintertime, the grass can get very, very firm. You really need some low bounce in your wedges. But in the summertime, when it rains a lot here in Hong Kong, guys, grass conditions can get very wet, very soggy, very diggy as well. So to make sure that he has a plethora of wedges in his wedge matrix to kind of tackle any sort of grind and any sort of condition, these 2 wedges are going to go right into the bag for you.
Amazing. Yeah, I agree. I think for me right now, I don't get to play as much as golf as I would like. And also because of that reason, playing in Hong Kong, all types of different conditions, I would like something that gives me more forgiveness in a way, right? So having a club that, first of all, looks good to me, feels good off the face, and to have kind of clean, solid contact through the ball is something that I do enjoy.
Correct.
Correct. So yeah, very happy with the results.
That's exactly it. And again, one final point, Martin mentioned forgiveness. People really don't know how to define forgiveness in the wedge. Forgiveness is found by doing a fitting and finding out what grind is going to help you hit the golf ball in grooves 2 through 5. Plain and simple. There's no such thing as a wedge that is forgiving for everyone. Everyone's definition of forgiveness in a wedge is going to be different. So we have these wedge grinds here at TFG. Come and try and find which wedge is going to be the most forgiving one for you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.